Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Jimmy, who was working a number of odd jobs, including being a factory worker at Amazon, working at McDonald's, being a security guard. And he was not very happy with any of those jobs and had no real direction in his life. And he had no college degree on top of that. But when he found my course, he hustled very, very hard. And within a few months, he was able to get a $60,000 a year SEO position working completely remotely. His life has completely changed. He is very excited to share his story. And I'm very excited for him to share his story with you. Thanks for being here, Jimmy.
Thank you so much for having me on board. This is surreal. This is like a dream come true. Last summer in July, I really got serious in your course. And honestly, not too much time later, my life has changed, man. You really did it. Currently, what I do is I'm an SEO specialist with Dealer Inspire. So I manage the online presence of multiple car dealerships. I have a pretty heavy client load. It's 30 clients, so I'm managing the online presence of 30 dealerships. What I do for them is SEO. So I do search engine optimization, which is basically we try to get them higher organic rankings, which means that we just try to have them rank higher on Google for certain keywords so that we can get them more revenue, more business, right?
Yeah, that's a great summary. And, I think it's exciting that, again, you're working with car dealerships. So you've worked with these are big brands you're working with, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I actually can't believe I forgot to mention that. I've worked with basically all of the largest automotive brands. It would be easier and simpler to say the ones that I haven't worked with. I haven't worked extensively with Audi, but I've worked with Audi a little bit. But some of the Japanese brands I haven't worked with is basically just like Honda. But everything on the Western coast, Volkswagen, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, everyone out here. Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with them extensively. Yes, sir.
That's so great. And it's amazing to think that, you're so early in your career and you're already working with these big brands.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and you're working 100% remotely, correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Awesome. And do you like that?
Yeah, I love it. There's no commute. There's no traveling. It's just a lot of time saved. You're in the comfort of your own home. You can work essentially without distractions, right? In the office, there's always someone kind of like tapping your shoulder, trying to ask for help. Here, you can even silo yourself off if you have like a lot of work that you need to get done, or if you just want to be more focused, right? When you're, say working on deliverables for clients.
Absolutely. And how much are you making at your job again?
$60,000 a year plus bonuses. So I could probably be making 63,000. That's very likely.
That's awesome, man. And how does it feel to be making this kind of salary if you hadn't made that much?
Yeah. So for anyone that hasn't been paying attention, I was very aimless before I found Seth's course. I was doing a lot of odd jobs, basically anything that would pay me, security, factory work, manufacturing, anything like that. I hated all of my jobs, like down to all of them, right? McDonald's, despised all of them. This job is the only job I've ever had where, I'm happy to go into work. I'm happy to talk to my coworkers. I'm happy to talk to, managers. These guys are regional managers, brand managers, directors, and they're happy to see me. They're happy to talk to me, treat me with a lot of respect. Call me sir, call me Mr. Ty. It's it's life-changing, like you said, right? Absolutely. I
Awesome.
highly recommend anyone get into this. Absolutely.
Yeah. And how does it feel to be getting paid more to actually do something you like?
It's surreal. It's surreal. It's it honestly, it doesn't even feel like I'm working a lot of the time. Like I'm just sitting in front of a computer, my company laptop. It's how I'm talking to you right now. And I'll speak to people, and I just want to know what you want to do with your business. Speaking to clients on pain points, on what keeps them up at night, on what gives them anxiety, right? And then we solve it with them. It's surreal. Again, it's kind of like a dream, and I'm almost afraid like I'm gonna wake up sometime. So I'm just always learning something. I'm always teaching myself something. I'm always whether it's even on marketing, I'll learn some sales so I can talk to my clients better, communicate with them better. But yeah, man, it's just been a ride. I'm getting essentially paid to learn, to think, and to speak to people, to execute some strategies and stuff like that. It's awesome. it's great. It's so much better than Amazon, so much better than McDonald's, so much better than any job I've worked.
So Jimmy, this is awesome. Obviously you're so happy in your new career, your new work-life balance and all that stuff. So people really want to know is like, what, how did this happen? How did you go from somebody that was working as a security guard or at Amazon or at McDonald's to somebody who's now working remotely and in such a short amount of time? Like give us the details. Because I know it does sound surreal and kind of unbelievable. So tell us what was it like in your life, when you had these bad jobs, and how did you get to this point?
Yeah. So when I was working these bad jobs, Amazon, McDonald's, or at least jobs I considered bad, right? Security and all that. I wasn't being treated with respect. I wasn't being paid well, obviously. I had very minimal duties, but they just gave those duties to you ad infinitum, right? So I was just always overworked essentially. And these jobs were also, again, right, I had to commute. These jobs would be like an hour and a half away, typically. So I just got tired of it. And another thing was that this might be a little bit dark, right? But my father, he's getting old, he's getting old. And he told me, like, you better take care of yourself one of these days, bro, or hey, I'm not going to be here all the time, right? So I found your course online, and I decided, like, I need to change my life. I need to be a man and dive into this guy seems sincere, right? This guy seems sincere, and he's got a lot of testimonials. You could go back years, and there's testimonials. And they all say the same thing. They're very consistent. So if you put in hard work, and I'll say the same thing, absolutely. If you come in here and you decide to get 1% better every day, that's how I decided to do things. Because let's be honest, this can be rather overwhelming, right? There's a lot of information. A lot of it's kind of technical. A lot of it's kind of difficult. Now, do I think a lot of it's easy? Absolutely. But
well, you just said, it's funny. I mean, you're hitting on all the really good points there, man. I don't want to step past it. I mean,
no worries. Absolutely.
I appreciate you sharing about your father. I didn't know that. I mean, that's obviously our families, our friends, our loved ones play a big, part of this. And when you're struggling financially in a job, it has a big impact, not just on you, on the people around you as well. Absolutely. So I think it's great that you took what your dad said and took it to heart and really took responsibility. And I also appreciate you, mentioning the fact that, digital marketing, this is what I try to do with the courses. Like for myself, I have a film background, right? So I did not have a technical background. I never built a website. Most of my students in the testimonials you've seen, nobody has a technical background.
Absolutely. That's very common.
So it's complex to learn, but then it's kind of easy. It's definitely not like coding, but it's a lot of information because I'm giving you what, some of these other, bachelor's programs take 2 years to do this, and you learn it in a few weeks. So once you're actually into the course, like how did it go? Like how did the course go, and how did it lead up to your first, interview and then this job?
Yeah, so I got into the course, and at first I was kind of scared, to be honest. I was anxious. It looked like there was a lot to the course. There is, but it's all at a junior level, if that makes sense, right? So everyone can come in here, but then Seth advances, right? So it'll go from junior to like somewhat advanced to now you're talking like an expert, right? And so when you go through the course, I found myself like getting information, right? And then slowly but surely leveling up to become this expert. At first, when I went through interviews, I was awful. I went through the interview without going through your interview part of the course, right? And I bombed. I did terrible. And then I started going into the coaching calls. Then I started going into the interview part of the course, right? What was I thinking? Going in without looking at that part. But it's like night and day. Before, I watched your interviewing videos, and then afterwards, night and day. I started getting treated a lot better. I started getting a lot more responses, right? So at first I was sending out my own resume, and then I started using your templated resume. I put in my own experience, my own knowledge inside of that as well. And I started getting a super high in comparison to what was before response rate, right? Like 10x, like it was insane. And then after that, I got advice from, say, Xavier or from Nicholas on how to do interviewing better. I did a few mock interviews with some people from the course. The course is interesting because it doesn't just teach you marketing. I think it teaches you how to win. And I'm not sure how many people have said something similar to that, but the course teaches you that how do you get stronger, right? Over time, slowly by deciding, and then you get stronger, you get more knowledgeable, and then eventually you're strong, right? You're good, you're an expert. And then, yeah, I went into the interviews afterwards, and once I was, I guess, good, right? I had gone through the entire coursework. I had gone into the coaching calls. Interviewers started just passing me along like right away. Like I'd have 2-minute interviews sometimes. And they'd be like, you clearly know what you're talking about. You're on to the next gig, or you're on to the next interview. And
That's
it's
awesome, man. I'm gonna cut you off just because I hold that thought, because you said so
okay.
many things, because it's really great. Yeah, man,
Yes,
like
sir.
people who are in the course or you're thinking about the course, they said, what did Jimmy do? He did what a lot of people do. He did it his own way. He skipped
Doesn't
stuff.
work, fellas. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work. I made these templates. I made the interview videos. I see a lot of students doing this too. I know it's as I try to tell people, is like, look at it with perspective. I say the whole course is like binge watching a Netflix show, right? It's still much less than if you took a college course or anything that would take you months and months, but you got to go through all of it. And if you skip steps or you do your own resume template or whatever, you're not going to get the same results. It's very simple. You generated some experience, you learned SEO, you did the audit, you were in, you knew you liked SEO instead of PPC, which is great. And then you got better and you bombed in your first interview. That's fantastic. I tell people that's a rite of passage to get and to bomb. Everybody does it. I study this stuff, all my favorite comedians, and performers, they all talk about how when they were starting out, they were terrible. It's fine. You have to be willing to go through.
Normal. Yep.
And then, then you get better and you get the coaching from the SEO coach or from the PPC coach. You get the coaching and you participate and you engage and you keep improving and you keep a positive attitude. And you can see people responding. And I'm really glad you said that about the interviewing guys, because it's right in there. I got a new interview coach, which I wanted to provide more support, but literally just follow the interview stuff, put together your answer to the question, tell me about yourself. So people were asking you that, right? And then you had an answer and you were like, yeah, I do this, this. You're answering quickly with confidence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing I want to stress is that, guys, if you want to get similar results from students that have succeeded in this course, then just think about it, right? If you follow a similar or identical process, you should get similar or identical results, right? It's very simple. If you're going through this course, go through all of it, do what you're told, and get your experience, get your knowledge, do the templates, do the interviews, do the work, and you'll be fine. Like I promise you.
That's awesome, Jimmy. We really appreciate that. And again, it takes different amounts of time for everybody, but just what I really am trying to get everyone in the course, even if you're watching it now, is that you don't have to, the point is you don't have to be perfect. That's the whole, that's why when I do the walkthrough videos, I show you the competition every time for 40 minutes. I'm showing you how this PPC job looks very intimidating, but guess what? Nobody who's applied has any digital marketing skills. So let's get into it. You applied this Dealer Inspire, which is a well-known, automotive brand agency. You have very little experience. You've just done what you did in the course. Tell us, how did it happen that how did the interview go? How did the application go? The interview, tell us the whole story.
Yeah. So from the beginning, I was basically, Dealer Inspire obviously was on the tail end of my job search, right? I was getting interviews pretty regularly at this point. I'd have like 2, maybe 3 interviews a week. Most of those, almost all of them, if it was the first round, at that point, I was always passing those. It's like Seth says, you just get to this point of maybe expertise or knowledge to where, especially the HR person, they don't know anything about SEO. They're like, hey, do you know SEO? And then you just start going on a spiel and they're like, awesome. Do you want to talk to the hiring manager? And that's it, So that's what happened. So for Dealer Inspire, my initial phone interview, it was 2 minutes long. It was just 2 minutes long. And what we went over there was, do you know what SEO is? I said, yes. Then he's like, what is it? I was like, it's search engine optimization. You make websites rank higher on Google. Do you want me to go into a little bit more depth? He said, yeah, sure. I went into just like a tiny bit more depth, saying like, you probably want to do research on the competition, see what they're doing. Does it work? Are we doing it? If we're not doing it, then we do it. If we're doing it, let's do it better. Let's go and do keyword research on, and he was like, all right, awesome, great. So at first with Dealer Inspire, I was going for the entry-level associate position. So he said $50,000 was the salary. And then he moved me right on to interviewing with my current manager, right? After that, I just talked to Xavier a little bit. He said that I was ready for the interview. I went into the interview and we talked like kind of just this normal conversation, right? It's just like Seth says, it's just like you say, you just want to have a normal conversation. Being cool is part of the interview. Being nice is part of the interview, right? They're judging you based on a lot of things. It's technical knowledge too, but they really want to be able to make sure that they have someone cool, nice, willing to learn, that's ready to work with them. I went over the SEO audit that you had us do for homework, right? And I thought that I didn't do well. I was like, oh, I stuttered. And then the next day she called me and said that I blew past the interview. Instead of associate position, they want me to go straight into the specialist position, gave me $10,000 extra. So I'm working 60K now. It was surreal. Yeah.
That's so great, man. That's so great. And I like these little tips you're giving people because, yeah, when you say be cool, it's like, it just, a lot of people have this imposter syndrome. And what we try to do in the coaching call is to let you, it's okay to have it initially. At a certain point, you want to see you're actually not an imposter. You actually know this stuff and you don't need to know everything. Like, you were in the course for a few months, so you learned the basics of SEO, but you already, obviously, you were the best candidate or they wouldn't have hired you. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, so being cool is what I talk about, is nerding out is the way I say it, which is kind of the opposite of being a nerd. Yeah. It's like you're basically, people can tell if you're full of it, they can tell if you know what you're talking about. That's why I try to teach you guys, like, own what you know and be happy about it. You don't have to then go into like, I've used, ChatGPT for 5 years or make up, stuff.
Yeah, like
I've managed $10 million in ad spend. This is actually, now that I'm saying it, it's very common if you're not feeling totally secure with something, to then try to, overdo it. And you don't have to do that. You're saying you were just genuine. They could see that you knew this. They also could see that you were hungry and you would be teachable. And like you said, you're getting paid to learn. And that's how this goes. That's how it goes. And I also like the fact that you did so many interviews, because that's another thing I want you to, whether you take the course or not, in your job pursuit, you got to understand this is like auditioning. You're like an actor, you're going to have interviews. Not everybody's going to hire you right away. If you take some of each interview, that's the best way to approach things. So now that you've gotten to this point in the story, tell us, what was it like to get that offer letter? Like, what was it like and how did it feel?
I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. I got the call from Emory, and he's like one of our HR guys, and he gives me a call and it says Dealer Inspire, and I'm like, beep, and I'm like, hello, and they're like, hey, yeah, you got the job, and I was like, you're lying, for real? And like, I like completely just like dropped professional. I said, hello, yes, this is Mr. Ty, and then he said, hey, you got the job, and I said, no, for real, stop playing with me right now. And then he was like, hey, you did so good that they pushed you right out of associate right into specialist. You trying to do that? And I said, yes, sir. And then he said, like, awesome, 60,000 sound good? I said, yes, sir. And he's like, but it was like, he was like, awesome, man. You start on X day. We're going to send you your offer letter, baby. And I said, yes, sir. He said, hey, you have a good weekend. Understand? I said, yes, sir. You too, sir. I hung up the phone and I said, whoo, I couldn't believe it. I thanked God, and whew, man, it was surreal. It was surreal. And then a few days later, I got my offer letter. I showed it to my mom. My mom didn't believe me when I got the offer letter. I had to show it to her. And then she was like, nah, no way. And I was like, yeah. But it was awesome. It's great, man. It's great.
That's so awesome, dude. Thank you. I mean, you shared it. I think it was very vivid retelling of it. And yeah, man, I know that's, you worked hard for it, and yeah, and it's funny, your mom, I wouldn't have, it's hard for people to believe, the mainstream, I get on CNBC, a lot, and I look at their articles, and I was like, nobody knows about this career. It's
Nobody knows. Yeah,
blows
it's
my mind in this day and age. It's still, people are still like, if you look at like the top, high earning careers, people are still like, well, nursing, or being like, I don't know, working at the airport with the planes, or what do they
the
call that?
TSA.
Yeah, or
Like,
that, or I don't know if that's high income, but what do you call it? The flight controller
oh,
who,
the flight attendant? Oh, the pilots?
no, not the pilots, the ones who, I'm getting sidetracked, but it's like the people that work in the tower talking to,
Oh, traffic controllers.
yeah, traffic controller,
They make
or
money.
radio, x-ray technician or something. And they're still not talking about this. And then some people, some lists will even talk about maybe software development, but I'm like, that's it's still so many companies that need digital marketers, and I'm really happy.
Everyone needs digital marketing.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it. So I just want to pull back just a little bit. During this interview, you said that like the students from your course are looked at far better, right, than recent college graduates. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. I've had a lot of interviewers that would just tell me point blank. They'd say, "Hey, Jimmy, no matter what happens," like these guys are hiring managers, right, that have nothing to do with me before our initial interview, and they tell me, "Hey, man, don't give up, and no matter what, even if you don't make it here, if I had to choose between you, a kid that's hungry, that's got a kick-ass attitude," people would tell me that, like, you got a kick-ass attitude, and a college grad that doesn't have any experience. I mean, you're clearly trying, man. You're clearly work. I'll pick you every day.
It's so
And
great. What
yeah,
did you go to
it's
college? I didn't even
real. I didn't go to any college. Yeah, I don't have any college. So
I totally forgot to even mention that. I may have
yeah,
an intro. Because I usually like to focus on that, and the fact that you don't have a degree is awesome. I have nothing against college degree or people who have a degree, but
I do.
I I don't, some of my students do and don't, but I'm a big advocate of doing what you did, which is skipping college. It's just a waste of money
It
for
is.
most people. And I love that the hiring managers said the same thing. But guys, it's true. I mean, if you have the degree, that's cool. I have one, right? Sitting in my parents' house somewhere, gathering dust, a waste of money. But if you don't, if you're in high school or you just didn't go to college and you see this should be a big inspiration for you guys to tell you. Hiring managers say directly, we are tired of seeing people who have spent 4 years learning nothing. They're learning, liberal arts or whatnot. And then Jimmy here actually can do the work, doesn't have a college degree. They're going to go with Jimmy. And I also really appreciate you sharing their encouragement, because I really believe when I try teaching the courses that, you get what you give, the energy you put out there is what you'll get back. And I know if you go on LinkedIn, you got to be a little careful because there's a lot of toxicity, people complaining, people going negative. If you put out a good energy and you have the knowledge, people will be supportive. I've heard many stories like this. I had my own experiences of that when I was in the job hunt myself, is that if you are out there, with a kick-ass attitude, and you're bringing the value, even if you don't get the, this job today, you're going to get a good connection, you'll have a good experience, and people, down the road, you never know what will happen, but you'll also, people will support you. You also want to have that attitude, I think, because there's a lot of support in this industry.
Yeah. It's like Seth said, people are very kind, people are very supportive. If you have, this like good kid, I guess you could say, positive energy, right? This like, he's a good kid, vibe. People will really like that. People really mess with that. I think that there's this lack, right, of honesty and positivity in the world. So people are very much mirrors, like you said. When you are like positive and kind, people are so willing to reflect that right back over to you. Even the interviews I bombed, I have them on LinkedIn. We say what's up every once in a while. Hey, a lot of the interviewing managers, one of them said, "Hey, congratulations, Jimmy, when I got my job," and put it on LinkedIn. Like it's really cool, you guys. This community is very cool.
It's really beautiful, man. And I'm glad you shared that, because what I'm trying to the whole attitude I'm trying to give you guys, like, I know, believe me, guys, I was thinking about this because I spent 10 years doing what Jimmy did, working crappy jobs. I slept in my car at one point. I was a pizza delivery driver. I couldn't figure anything out. And then I remember just the knot in my stomach I would get when I would see job application and filling it out, and then like feeling nervous and all this stuff. And that's the world of job applications. And what I try to do with you guys in the course and with the community is transform you to the point where you're looking at it very, very differently. And in the way Jimmy's talking about it, where you're looking at this as like an exploration, and that you're just having conversations with people, and that you have something to bring. That's what I do in the walkthrough videos. It's like, you are bringing value. You're not weak trying to get a job. You're bringing value to these companies, and
you have leverage. Absolutely.
And when you bring that attitude, like you said, even if you don't get the job, you make connections. And I think it's really great that these guys are congratulating you, because when you're hiring, and I've been in a hiring position, like you don't wish these people ill who are interviewing. You're hoping to find somebody good. And then sometimes what will happen is you'll have like 3 or 4 good candidates, and you like them all. And then you have to make a choice, and that's not easy for the person hiring. And you wish you could hire more people,
Yep,
absolutely. And that's probably what happened is they're like, I wish I could hire this guy, or oh, he's just, just not quite, for some, whatever reason.
Just a little bit green, or like just a little bit, there's just this other candidate who just has so much industry experience. Like I've had a lot of people tell me like, Jimmy, we wish we could hire you, but we had another candidate. He had 3 years industry experience. We're sorry. Can we hit you up? Like they're asking, right? Hey, can we hit you up next time we have an opening? Like,
there you go.
Like that's insane, isn't it?
Gonna happen.
That's
crazy. Now you got your one shot. And that's the other thing, guys, what I tell you to keep applying is that you're looking for that opportunity. It's not, some people, just to bring this into the conversation, other people have gotten similar positive responses and have been hired with less experience than other candidates, for sure.
Yeah, that's happened a lot of times.
Keep putting out the good stuff. And, I like this positivity thing. Maybe I'll do more videos on that, because it said when you're on LinkedIn, there's some supportive people, but you can also see people who are struggling, and it's good to support them. But you want to just remember, you can cause this. That's the whole point, is that you can bring this good energy to an interview, and people will respond positively.
Yep. They'll reflect it right back at you. They'll really like it.
And that's why I want you guys to own what you do know. Don't focus on what you don't know. Be happy about it. Be happy to be in the interview. Just happy just to be considered. And it grows. And, then you end up in, like with Jimmy, with this great job that you're very happy about. So that's really great, man. Thanks for sharing all of these nuggets and your story.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm deeply grateful.
I was curious, so what your life now versus before, and how you relate to your family. Like, what did your dad have to say about all this? Because, you mentioned
my dad didn't believe me for like a month after I had that. He was like, you're not really working. You're just hanging out. Who are you talking to? Your friends, your buddy, huh? And then I got paid, and he was like, I'm getting paid more than my father. You know what I mean? He looked at my check. He was like, $30 an hour. He was like, you getting paid $30 an hour? And I said, yes, Dad. He's like, okay. And then
that's so awesome, man. You break brains.
My dad commutes. My dad is a truck driver, commutes 10 years of experience, drives 2 hours to work, and he gets paid less than me. I mean, he's really proud and stuff, but Jimmy, don't tell anyone you make money. But he tries to give me advice and stuff. Jimmy, make sure that you treat your customers and all, they're super duper happy. My cousins are also ecstatic. Most of them are pretty successful. Some of them not so much, right? But we can bring them on board, teach them a little bit, give them your course or what have you.
I think it's really great that your dad respects what you're doing, and it sounds like you got to respect what your dad did. Obviously,
he worked hard.
Bringing you guys to to America and working that hard to support you. And it's cool that you took what he said and ran with it and created something. And then now it's actually talking about your parents. So what's your plan now in terms of what you're going to do with your life and where you want to go?
By the end of the year, I want to move It's funny, in the beginning of the video, you said like, it's kind of ironic, right, Jimmy? Your parents brought you out here for a better life and better opportunity. And now I'm going to bring my family to Vietnam or to Thailand so that they could have the best life. Guys, it's great. Like,
you're from, I just want to, but you're from Vietnam. You're saying
yes,
your
sir.
family immigrated from Vietnam, your parents, right?
Yes, sir. During,
You want
right
to,
after the war, they came here.
okay, yeah. And you want to move back to Southeast Asia to do the digital nomad thing.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm gonna bring the whole crew with me though. Like, I'm thinking about bringing my dogs. Like, I'm thinking about bringing everyone. And but you know what's the crazy thing though, Seth? Like, guys, I was making these plans my whole life with my friends, and it was all just BS. You know what I mean? Now it's not. Now I can really take my family to Vietnam. Now I can, like, they can be treated like kings and queens. Now, like, my parents' life, it's win, right? They won now. They can have whatever they want, right? If they ask me for something, I get it from like that. It's just surreal, my parents ask me for stuff now. It used to be the other way around. My mom asked me for a bike. She got one just like that. She wants to go visit Vietnam. Okay, we'll take care of that, you know? Like, I'm the man. Like, it sounds surreal, but I'm the man now. And God, it's just crazy because yeah, like,
That's really amazing to have that shift happen. And I know I had that with my parents. My parents, I'm very fortunate that they did well later in life, but for me, it was nice just not to have to always depend on them and to be able to take care of myself. But if you can go beyond that and actually give them a gift, that's really beautiful, because then your parents can go back to their home country in in an empowered state, like they can enjoy the fruits of everything they built over here. You go back with, in a totally different situation with a lot of freedom. And yeah, dude. Well, I'm sure we could talk about this a lot more,
I'm
but
sure that we could talk about this basically forever.
anyway, Jimmy, thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it, and it's very inspiring. And I, appreciate you talking about your family and your dreams and everything. Is there anything you want to say to people watching the interview who maybe are thinking about taking the course or getting into digital marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. Only you can change your life. Only you are going to change your life. No one else is going to do it for you. Like, guys, if you're thinking about it, if you're looking at digital marketing and it's something that you really want to do and you're tired of like BS jobs, tired of no skill jobs, I'd say pull the trigger and go forward. I mean, guys, you guys are going to get a process, right? That has worked for me. It's worked for, hundreds of other people, and it's not BS. If you guys go through the process, expect similar results, right? That's something that's common in digital marketing. We have a process and we do it for you. We do it for our other clients. It works for, 30, 300 in my case, right? My company we service 1,200 clients. It works for 1,200 people. Probably work for you, right?
Yeah.
Very likely, right? So, and I just want to end again by saying, like, all of these dreams and all of this stuff that I've been talking about, like, thank you so much, Seth. It's been possible because you made this course. I want to say thank you to Xavier. Thank you to Nick. You guys are awesome. They were also like very foundational, right, in me getting my job. And I like really the other students too. Thank you. Sophia was awesome. Just everybody, man. I'm deeply grateful that this course was placed into my life. It's a blessing, Seth. I don't know if you're religious at all. I am. But I feel like God placed this into my life, and I'm glad that I didn't ignore it. I'm really glad that I didn't ignore this opportunity. I'm so deeply grateful. I wish I could repay you. Like, I really wish I could. Which is funny because I paid for the course. But I feel like I owe you. I feel like I owe you still. So I'm gonna leave off with change your life, guys.
Beautifully said, man. And
Thank you.
and I appreciate you sharing all that. Thank you for, you give back by sharing your story and passing it on to other people. And I do underprice the course, as you know.
I agree.
I do it so that I can reach more people. Other courses. I'm not even trying to sell it right now. I'm just saying, like,
no, yeah, absolutely.
these courses are normally 3,000, 5,000, 10 boot camps, 15,000, and they don't have the same, it's not,
high quality. Yeah.
it's not even that, it's that, but it's really the community of people. I intentionally, by underpricing, and delivering good results over the years, there's this community of people who have, it's like a pay it forward mentality, which is what I really got help from, other students who had, alumni. Now you're in the Facebook group and you're going to help other people. And by the way, can people reach out to you on LinkedIn?
Absolutely. I love helping students. I've helped out some before, and I want to be part of this community where everyone just pretty much helps each other. It's awesome. You're more than what, if you're watching this video, please feel free to hit me up. I'm always available on LinkedIn. I'll be on the Facebook support group, and you're very much more likely though to get a response from me on LinkedIn though. So
Awesome.
Go ahead and hit me up on LinkedIn, please.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much, Jimmy. I love your enthusiasm. I could tell you wanted to we could keep talking, but I think you said everything very well. Yeah, guys, feel free to reach out to Jimmy, and you can watch these other interviews. You can reach out to my other students as well. And again, if you haven't watched my free webinar on how to get a $60,000 a year remote job with no previous experience or education, you click the link below, or you can check out my full training by clicking the link below as well. Thanks again, Jimmy. We'll definitely stay in touch, and we'll talk soon.